Jim Jones appeared on Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Okosinko earlier tonight, and the conversation didn't go well for him. It was genuinely uncomfortable to watch Jim Jones being so thoroughly challenged by Shannon Sharpe. He is actually a big fan of Nas, which motivated him to question Jim Jones about some remarks Jim made on Fat Joe and Jaqua's podcast earlier this week.
There's a big gap there, you know what I mean? And I want people to understand that. So when Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old, that goes to show the part of the era that he's in, that I came into light and started going crazy, that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
Yes.
But it's the era.
Some music.
No.
There's some kids that.
No, I love that.
There's some kids that love hip-hop.
20, so I mean,
but he's your son.
He's your son.
He's your son.
No, but he knows.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but
let's keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck, because they'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception or what's that word? When it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. A lot of these rappers,
we made him take the darkies off.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them. But they forget, I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, and check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and the niggas trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, and pull up my billboard entries.
When it comes to topics like influence or who's the better artist, those are completely subjective. Some people might listen to Jim Jones and genuinely believe he's a better rapper than Nas, and others may feel the opposite. However, what isn't open to opinion are measurable things like official statistics, achievements, and facts. And this is where Jim Jones made inaccurate claims. Jim stated that he had more Billboard entries than Nas, more platinum records, and more hit songs. But those statements simply aren't correct. Even using the exact standards Jim himself mentioned, the evidence consistently shows that he falls short in all of those areas. Jim Jones specifically wanted to focus on solo artist statistics, so we're only considering those here. Nas has around 5 or 6 platinum albums, while Jim Jones does not have a single platinum album. Nas also has, from what we know, 1 or possibly 2 platinum singles. Jim Jones has 1 or maybe 2 as well, depending on how you count them. We Fly High and the We Fly High remix, both considered platinum. Still, when comparing solo artist stats alone, Nas has outperformed Jim Jones. Looking at Billboard chart entries, Nas is ahead here as well. Nas has over 15 Billboard Hot 100 entries, while Jim Jones has only 2. So, Nas clearly leads in this category too. It's unclear why Jim Jones wanted to compare their Billboard records as if he expected his numbers to surpass Nas's. They simply don't. One thing about Jim Jones is that he seems to be the first man over 6 feet tall who carries what's often called little man syndrome. He has a high level of confidence, sometimes so strong it comes across as unrealistic. Jim Jones feels that hip-hop is moving forward without him, that when people talk about the history of his era, his name is often left out and his contributions are overlooked. In many ways, he isn't entirely wrong. For example, when people wear chrome hearts or designer belts today, they don't usually credit Jim Jones. But many of these fashion trends that have come back over the last 5 years or so do trace back to him. His impact on fashion is real, but that's separate from his musical influence. Jim Jones deserves recognition for his role in shaping fashion, but that doesn't mean it's reasonable to compare himself to Nas, who is widely considered among the top 10 rappers of all time. Shannon Sharpe tried to explain this to Jim Jones, pointing out that he might not be seeing things clearly. However, Jim Jones wasn't willing to accept that, and the conversation became quite intense.
Life right now, you know what I mean? The more I bless people, the more I get blessed. And it's just a testament of hard work and being resilient and being real with yourself. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he
Well,
started.
you said that
But
bullshit.
listen,
You can't build an argument based entirely on one point. And then, once that point gets proven wrong, try to shift the discussion to something else. The argument Jim Jones was making wasn't about influence. He was specifically saying that when it comes to catalog versus catalog, Nas's body of work doesn't compare to his. He told people to look at the Billboard charts and then come back to him. Well, the Billboard charts were reviewed and the results came back to Jim Jones, and now he's trying to change the topic.
but listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
Ain't no shame in that. There's a lot of mofos came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit. I used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like, I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm being honest. You ask me, I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game. Remember how this goes. You ever heard of a Kofi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys, you heard?
Hey, Jim.
Yo, and people out here acting like I said I'm gonna bring the Kofi list back. I just told you I'm gonna change man. Stephen Law. Can you dig?
Nah, look, I'm putting it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Jim Jones's emotions and self-confidence appeared to be so sensitive that he started to make it personal. Shannon Sharpe was only addressing music and rap ability, but Jim Jones began criticizing Shannon Sharpe's clothing choices and his style. He also seemed to be subtly hinting at questions about Shannon Sharpe's sexuality. Shannon Sharpe noticed these remarks and responded directly. What Jim Jones didn't realize at that moment was that he was putting himself in a difficult position that would be hard to recover from. By taking this approach, Jim Jones gave Shannon Sharpe every reason and opportunity to fully respond. And if Shannon had wanted to seriously challenge him, he now had the opening to do so. Shannon Sharpe could have thoroughly embarrassed him and made him feel insignificant, which, as it turns out, happens later in the podcast.
Yeah,
Y'all
but look
ain't
how
ever
you
with
dress.
Nas.
Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the
But
things
I-
that we listen to.
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It
Nas.
don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hey, I got hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too
Hold
tight.
on.
That
Jimmy,
shirt
Jimmy,
too
Jimmy.
tight. You want to go back
hold
to
on.
I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to
but I
the
just
history,
said,
bro.
for you to even
Don't do
say that.
bro. Don't do that, bro. That shirt
Hold on, hold on.
tight.
Said it.
You be sticking up for Nas.
I got a question. I got a
Nas
question.
stick up for itself and meet me in a booth for something if we want to do something historical.
Nas say he don't do that no more. Nas say he don't do that.
Because he got $100 million. He's a very wealthy man. You heard he's a very smart businessman. He called a couple business flicks.
Hold on. Jimmy, hold on. I got a question.
Jim Jones became extremely frustrated when Shannon Sharpe didn't agree with him. As the discussion continued, Jim Jones made what might be one of the most questionable statements I've ever heard. Jim claimed that Shannon Sharpe, the creator of Club Shay, a show with interviews that have reached over 80 million views, and the owner of multiple YouTube channels with more than 1 million subscribers, each was using him for clickbait. According to Jim Jones, Shannon Sharpe brought him on to boost views and grow his podcast. Jim genuinely seemed to believe that he was providing Shannon Sharpe with a major benefit, almost like a stimulus package, as if Shannon actually needed him to attract viewers. At that point, Shannon Sharpe had to firmly correct him.
I can sing more Nas records than you right now. So you are capping. You are capping. That's what you're doing.
First of all, bro,
you are
I'm about to be
capping.
50.
I'm a bigger Nas fan than you are. You are capping.
First of all,
I'm
I'm 57. I don't be singing no rap. I don't be singing no rap.
You see what I'm saying, Ocho? He don't even know about rap. He just doing this for the views to get Jim Jones on there to get him hot. I understand. But you don't
Get
know
him
no
hot?
Nas lyrics. You don't know Nas
You better
lyrics.
check the
You don't
podcast
know
space.
no
Hey,
Nas
now you better talk.
Sing 16.
Hey,
Sing
this the biggest podcast you ever been
Name
on.
one Nas record.
Hey,
This the
Sing
biggest
one Nas
podcast
track.
you ever been on.
Do you
Name
know
a podcast
you know
you been
Nas
on
track?
better than this one.
Hold on. We off topic.
I'm not a
Hold on.
No,
Jimmy,
no,
hold on.
This is what I do.
Joe.
You see
Name
you
a podcast
in
you've been on bigger than this one. When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay.
Jadakiss
get invited to Club Shay. You
Hey,
not
yo.
on that level yet, bro.
It's for little young
Hello?
white girls. Chill out.
We
Chill
off
out. Don't play
topic.
with me, bro. Chill
We
out.
off topic.
You dealing with the wrong one, bro.
Right here, bro.
I
You heard
don't
me?
care nothing about nothing that shit you got to say, bro. You might as well take me
Hello?
off this shit.
We here. You can't out
Leave
talk
me alone, bro.
You might can out
Bro,
rap me, but you can't out talk me.
Don't nobody want to go to Club Shay. Nobody want to buy no VIP tickets to that shit. Nobody rushing to go to that shit.
If
You ain't got
podcast
nothing
you ever
lit
been
in
on.
Club Shay.
Hey,
you
If
do got a
you
good
fortunate, you get
podcast.
an invite.
You do got
Ain't
a good
nobody
podcast.
listening to me?
The podcast is tremendous. You and Ocho do your thing. But don't get it twisted, bro. I don't care
Hey.
nothing about no fucking podcast,
Hey.
bro.
This is exactly what I meant earlier when I said Jim Jones's confidence sometimes crosses into delusion. He seriously claimed, without hesitation, that his appearance on Shannon Sharpe's podcast would significantly elevate Shannon's platform as, though Shannon Sharpe isn't already hosting one of the top 5 podcasts in the world right now. Honestly, Jim, arguing about Nas isn't the path you need to take. There are better ways to earn your recognition. You can definitely get the credit you deserve through other channels. For example, build something meaningful, create your own podcast, or develop your own fashion label. If you had the influence to make Chrome Hearts popular and turn BB belts into a trend, then you can absolutely launch your own fashion brand and succeed that way. You could follow a path similar to what Yeezy did. You don't need to go down this route because the more you continue with these arguments, the more you risk losing credibility. It makes people question your position and it weakens your image. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section.